Hey, how's it going? And welcome to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today we've got a 25-year-old Tobermory from Whisky Broker. Now, don't worry if you think you're having some sort of seizure or deja vu, but yes, I have reviewed this whisky and it was only 3 months ago and I don't know how I've forgotten. So yeah, have fun checking out the review, seeing if I see if I trip up. If I talk absolutely nonsense like I usually do, and if my notes in that compare to the last video, so you can see if I'm a fraud or not, basically. Anyway, enjoy the video. Who sell casks, they also obviously sell bottles of whiskey. I believe they sell kind of cases of whiskey. I'm not sure if they do that for retail or what, if they sell it to shops, but I haven't actually seen any Whisky Broker bottles in shops other than the online shop at Whisky Broker and in Whisky Broker itself. So there's 229 bottles of this stuff. It's 51.5% ABV, non-chill filtered, no added colouring, single cask bottling as well, bottled at cask strength, filled on the 26th of April 1995, so that was 4 months before I was born, and it was bottled on the 26th of November 2020. Now, for a 25-year-old Tobermory, you might be thinking, oh, that's probably about £300 with the distill prices or distell prices, but this is only £80, or was only £80. So quite a bargain for an old single cask bottling of Tobermory, but that being said, it's down to the whisky, it's down to how the whisky performs out with the price. So we'll see what the nose and the palate and the finish has to offer. I've had this quite a bit, as you can see. I'm halfway through it. This video, I've not taken any notes. I'm just going to do it from the experience, and I'm going to try and keep this no cutting in the video. I'm trying to keep the editing down to a minimum, other than interruptions. So we'll get down to the nose, and we'll see if this is a Whisky Win or a Whisky Bin. So the nose is it's a little, I want to say jackfruit, something like that, some exotic fruit. Yeah, jackfruit is what comes to mind. Maybe a touch of maritime feel, obviously with it being Tobermory. There's something I get stick for at work, but there's definitely kind of wet pebbles, wet stones, just to tie in with that maritime feel. A little bit of fresh linen or clean cotton, like the Yankee Candle. I know it's Yankee Candle to do that specific fragrance, the clean cotton. Possibly to tie in with the jackfruit, apricots, maybe quite ripe apricot. It is quite a fruity maritime dram. It's quite nice in the nose. Well, I'm enjoying it. A little herbaceous, but really subtle. Not right in your face with the herbal extracts or the herbal notes. So yeah, a little herbaceous, but as I said, quite subtle with it. Some lemon juice, like if you're making a hot toddy, the actual bottle of lemon juice you get, and you squeeze it into the, or maybe not even a hot toddy. Does hot toddy have lemon in it? But yeah, like the lemon juice you have in a bottle, it smells like kind of, yeah, a little bit of that, a little hint of sourness, possibly some sort of polish. There is a little kind of synthetic, or maybe not synthetic, but yeah, like polish, almost like nail varnish remover or polish or something like that, something along those lines. Yeah, I think that's probably all I'm getting on the nose. We'll go down to the palate. yeah, it's a really nice mouthfeel, quite oily. There's a lot of tannins. It's soaked up a lot of the cask. I believe it's just a bourbon cask. I mean, it doesn't say, it just says hogshead number. There's no sherry. It doesn't look like there's a sherry influence there. There's a little fruit fly going about. But yeah, a lot of tannins. I would say those, there's like a salty, those wet pebbles are back. It's, yeah, like being on the beach, kind of salty sea salt, stone, pebbles, sand. It's bringing all these kind of ideas to the forefront of my head. So yeah, something like that. I'll go for another little taste. A little bit of kind of sugar icing or something like that. It's a little sweet, but it's more bitter than it is sweet. It's quite drying in the mouth after that oily essence, oily profile fades. It becomes a lot more drying. There's more of those fruits coming through, possibly now, like peaches and apricots, quite fresh. Peaches and apricots, quite juicy, but nonetheless a very dry and dram towards the end. Not as sweet towards the end of the palate. I'm getting a little bit more of this kind of tannin, oak woodiness, but that's almost on the finish, so I don't want to say too much. Just get rid of this fly. But yeah, they seem to be attracted to the whiskey. So yeah, I think that's probably all on the palate. Yeah, it seems to be kind of going more to the finish. So we'll see what the finish is like. Yeah, we'll see what the finish is like. So yeah, the finish is definitely okay. The tannins, like I said, there's more of a pronounced herbal element, or more of a profound. Is profound the right word? It's highlighted more in the finish. This herbal element. There's possibly a little bit of kind of espresso, coffee, cocoa, dark chocolate, dark bitterness. Like I said, the coffee, the espresso, kind of a little bit gritty, a little bit of cafetiere, kind of ground coffee, and you've got that little bit of grittiness, a little bit of, if you were to bite it, have some in your mouth and bite a little bit of the ground coffee, it'd be a little bitter. Still quite drying. There's a little like kind of, this sort of reminds me of Ardbeg in the sense with this herbal element. There's not a lot of smoke for me, but it reminds me of Ardbeg in the sense that it's got this herbal element, and then towards the end there's a kind of fresh toothpaste or peppermint or spearmint, some sort of menthol, minty freshness at the end of the finish. And I'd say the finish is probably, I think it's still going, a little bit of nuttiness there. I'd say the finish is long. Yeah, I think it's long. So yeah, we'll get down to the rating of this whiskey and if it's a whiskey win or a whiskey bin. So the way if you're new here, the way I rate my whiskies is on 3 factors. Would I buy it again? Do I think it's worth it? And would I recommend it? So I'll start with the easiest. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I definitely recommend this. I think I've gave it out to a few people. I think I need to get it out to more people though, because it is a nice dram. It's interesting. It's different with regards to probably the price. But yeah, it's a little different. It's not. I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's a typical Tobermory. Although there's that kind of coastal maritime feel to it. It doesn't feel. I wouldn't have been able to pick this out and say it was Tobermory for my personal opinion, but I'm not too up with Tobermory really. It's not a whiskey I've spent a lot of time with. I've spent more time with Lechek. So Tobermory, I wouldn't be able to tell you this was a Tobermory. But anyway, I would definitely recommend trying it. Would I buy it again? Yeah, I think I would. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's maybe feels a little bit older than it is. I think it's quite, like I said, it doesn't need the water at all. I think there's a lot of good flavours there. It's bold, it's complex, full-bodied for sure. It's not thin, it's oily, it's got everything you want, non-chill filter, no added colouring, it's all whiskey. It's just straight from the cask. It's refreshing. And then we have to talk about the price. £80 for a 25-year-old. Now, it was a gamble. Whisky Broker tend to release good whiskey, but they've obviously got an abundance of casks, so sometimes it could be a hit and a miss. You don't know really what you're getting without obviously pre-tasting or like sampling. So this could have been a Duff whiskey, a Duff cask, and them releasing it at £80 maybe put some sort of scepticism in my head, thinking £80 a bit cheap for a 25-year-old single cask. But now that I've spent time with it, opened it and had it, it's unreal how why they've released it at £80. They could have got so much more money for it, but I think their whole ethos, and kudos to Martin and the people behind Whisky Broker, is to kind of get whiskey out there, get it drunk, and get it at a good value for money. So this is definitely well worth it. £80, like I said, 25-year-old single cask, non-chill filter, no added colouring, almost without even trying the whiskey. That was the reason I bought it. I thought £80, even if it's not worth it, what it says on the label is almost, you're almost like halfway there until you try the whiskey. So your label's almost a guarantee, the contract, if you will, I think as Ralphie says. So you're almost halfway there with the label, and you're thinking £80 at a 25-year-old whiskey. If it's really that bad and terrible, then yeah, you've wasted £80. But I don't know, it's a hard one. At least you've tried it, and at least it's 25-year-old. But luckily enough, this is an amazing whiskey. So it's a Whisky Win, definitely. Yeah, thanks to Whisky Broker for keeping your prices so low. Kudos to you. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off. Oh wait, I do. Haha. I don't know, I'm going to shut up now. So thanks for watching. I've been Stuart, this has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.